This is the screencast for creating Lightbox inside of your web application. So the first thing we want to do is we want to download the framework. So we're going to go to Lightbox and fire up Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari and go to Google and search for Lightbox. Now the one we're going to use is called Lightbox 2. So we're going to search for it and go to their web page. And here it gives you sort of an overview of what it is, and if we click on one of the images we can get a sample. What we're going to do is start off by downloading it, so we'll go over to the download link, we'll click on Lightbox version 2.04 and download that and save it. And I save all my stuff directly to my desktop. So now that's saved, and what I'm going to do is start with my project. So the next step is to set up my project. So what I'm going to do is create a folder, and I might call this Lightbox project. And what I'm going to do is unzip the Lightbox interface that I just downloaded, which is right here, this Lightbox 2.04. So I'll double click on it and that will give me a file folder that gives me CSS, images, an index, and a JS. Now all I'm really going to need to pull this off are these three folders, which would be the CSS, the images, and the JS. And what I'm going to do is take that and toss that into my Lightbox project folder. So inside of my Lightbox project folder I've got CSS, images, and JS. And then I'll go to Dreamweaver and start in with my project. I'll manage my sites, create a new one, call this Lightbox project, and I'll point to wherever it's located, and in my case it's on the desktop. Lightbox project, I'll choose it, say OK, go to done, and then I'll finish setting this up by creating my HTML folder, my working folder, and I'll create my index file. Alright, so now I'm set and I'm ready to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our styles to this project. So inside of Dreamweaver, when I open up my index, what I want to do first is come into the CSS folder and take this Lightbox, and I'm going to add the Lightbox styles to the document. So I'll take and I'll toss those in right through here. Now, I'm also going to create my own styles. So I've right-clicked and created a new document called styles.css. You may not have known this, but you can have as many style sheets as you need for a particular project. I wouldn't recommend doing a whole lot of them, but sometimes it makes sense to separate the functionality. In this case, it makes sense. So we have a Lightbox CSS and our own custom styles CSS. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the JavaScript. Now, to add that in, we want to use something known as a script tag, and this might look a little crazy, but the easiest thing to do would be to go back to the original downloaded file, which is right here, and to take this index file inside of the Lightbox 2.04, and let's open this up in Dreamweaver. Up top, there's going to be some JavaScript references, which are these right through here. The easiest thing to do is just to simply copy and paste into your document, and it must be above the closed head tag. So now we've added our styles and we've added our JavaScript. The next thing to do is to start creating our image tag. So I've downloaded some images from Blackboard under the Lightbox activity. Let's see where this is at. Under interface images, I'm sorry. And under interface images, I have all of these interface images that I'd like to use. So I'm going to take this and toss it inside of my Lightbox project. So when I come to Dreamweaver, they should all be available. Let me refresh. And here they are under interface images. I have a whole bunch of images at my disposal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image, source, and I'm going to browse and go inside interface images, and I'm going to choose something like one medium. And I'll close the image. And now I have this one image inside of my document. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in all of these things together. So I'm going to do that by creating an image link. So to create an image link, I'll wrap this in an A tag, and then I'll point this to the file that is the larger image. Now this might seem a little weird because you're used to going to a different web page. Instead, I'm going to link this to an image. And then to hook up Lightbox, you'll set up the relationship and say Lightbox. And now, if we go into our live view, or if we were to preview this, I can click on it, and it gives me a larger version of this particular image. So Lightbox is really easy to set up. Now let's say there's a whole sequence of images that you would like to use Lightbox for. What we can do is set this up pretty quickly. I'm just going to copy and paste. And I already have some images predefined as 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'll come over here and set these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oops. 5. To set up a sequence, I'm going to use an open and closed square bracket, and inside of here I just need a common name, so I might call this portfolio. And I'll set that up for each relationship. So here, 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 and here. So when I finally test this, I have all these different images inside of here, and I'm going to look at it inside my web browser. And I can click on 2. And because I set up the sequence, when I roll over, I'll get a previous and a next, and it will tell me that this is image 2 of 5. I can go back and go to 1. I can go forward, forward. Now to one of the last things that you might want to do is create a caption for each of the images. To do that, you'll set up right after the relationship something known as title. And in here you can create a caption. So right now inside of my A tag, I've got my href, my relationship, my title, which is going to be my caption. This is the actual image that I'm clicking on, the small version, and then I close my A tag. So when I save this and I run it, when I go to the very first one, I'll have a caption. And here it is right here. This is my custom caption. When I go to the next one, which I have not set up yet, oh, looks like I accidentally made a mistake. So let's take a look at that real quick. Oh, I would have to outfit each one of these. That's why. This is my number 2 image. There's number 1. This is my custom caption, and then number 2. This is my number 2 image. So what we've covered is Lightbox. We downloaded the framework, we set up the project, we added styles, we added JavaScript, we created an image link, we created a sequence, and we created captions. One last thing I'd like to leave you with is you probably don't want these borders all the way around this project. So there's a couple ways that we can solve this problem. One is that we can come in here and set a border attribute to 0, or inside of our custom styles document that we made, we could say for all image tags, we would like a border of none. And now all the borders go away. Oops, there we go. Now all the borders go away. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me.